If you're a Muslim who wants to make money online, but you don't know how, appointment setting might actually be a really good place to start. Now, I want to preface this by saying, appointment setting is not easy. It's going to require a lot of volume, a lot of work, and it's not some kind of business whereby you can make 100K a month from, right? However, if the goal is to be able to leave what you're doing right now, leave your 9 to 5, and just start making money online from the comfort of your home, where you can take your laptop and literally go anywhere in the world and print money, appointment setting can definitely do that for you, and it's what allowed me to do that. Now, I want to talk to you about why appointment setting is probably the best place to start if you're completely new to the online game. So there are so many different things you could do. You could start your own business, you could do e-commerce, like there's so many different things. However, with appointment setting, you have a very specific task that you do for businesses. Businesses get a load of clients, or they get a load of leads that come in who show interest into a thing that they sell or do, right? Your job as the appointment setter is to go in, call them, and actually book them in for a sales call, book them in for a closer call. What that basically just means is you have a conversation with the lead, you understand if that person has a few basic criteria, i.e., do they actually want the product? Are they a good fit for the product? Do they have the money for it? Would they actually get results from the thing that you're selling, right? And if that makes sense, you push them forward to a sales call. Now, if that deal closes, right? If they jump on the next call and that deal closes, you then get usually around a 5% commission. Now, having said all of that, appointment setting is not something which is just this very easy and magical thing whereby you can make 5, 10, 15K a month. In fact, if you look at the industry, a lot of appointment setters are probably only making like 1K a month, right? And I'm not saying that for everybody, but that is the case for a lot of different offers out there, because a lot of these offers, they're generally very new, they've just started, and they don't have their own systems in place. They are run by influencers or people who don't really have that much experience being entrepreneurs. So they don't actually know what it takes to run a business, run a team, hire people, fire people, put in systems and SOPs and everything like that in place. Which is why a lot of the offers run by like a one-man team who's just making his first few hires, and he's maybe making like 50, 30, 40K a month, and he needs an appointment setter now to go out, reach out to those leads to save himself from doing that, right? From doing that hard work. And so the raw reality of appointment setting is that for most offers out there, you're actually not going to make much money, right? Now, how do I say that? And then how do I say that appointment setting is actually a good place to start? Because most offers are not the offers that you're going to be targeting. You're not going to want to work for those offers. The whole game in appointment setting, just like with anything, is networking, finding opportunities which are going to help you find those offers whereby you can actually make a lot of money, right? There are appointment setters out there that are making 15, 20, 25K a month, right? Appointment setters can actually do that. Is that rare? Yes, it's very rare, but you can actually make that kind of money as an appointment setter alone. And to think that you can literally do that from the comfort of your home with your laptop, and you can go anywhere in the world and print money and run a full-time income, that is pretty crazy, subhanAllah, right? It's literally the way that I left my job and ran a full-time income, right? Now I run a sales team. However, I was just a setter, right? Now I manage my own like sales setting team. But before I was just a setter and I made a full-time income. It allowed me to leave my job and go full-time into making money online, right? So making money online is not going to be easy. So firstly, if you have this kind of notion because you've seen a load of ads and people are like, here's how you can make 10K a month taking 3 to 4 calls a day. Honestly, that is not the reality, right? Does it exist? Maybe, but it does exist, but it's so far and few in between. If that is the expectation that you are coming in with, you're not going to have a good time in the space and you're not going to get good results, and your expectations just won't be met. If you are, though, willing to put in 10, 12 hours a day and really grind, right? Like really grind, appointment setting is a good place to start. And the reason I say that is because sales, appointment setting, closing, like these positions give you an insight to the business. They allow you to actually get skills that are going to help serve you well in the future, right? Now, what do you need to be an appointment setter? Well, you don't really need experience, okay? Now, it's going to help you if you join a mentorship or a sales program or get some kind of training before you do go on an offer. However, I've hired people who had absolutely no experience. I know of people who don't really have any experience, but they have the right mindset. They can jump on an offer, absolutely crush it, make 5, 10K a month, right? Just as an appointment setter alone, okay? So experience is not really a thing that you need. It's more about a mindset. Now, Is there a skill to appointment setting? 100%. And that is why it's going to be beneficial for you to actually go out, get a sales program, get a mentorship, and get trained before you start actually going and looking for offers and performing well. Because sales is definitely a skill. The ability for you to be able to speak to a person, speak to a lead, and your skill level is going to determine your income, right? So on teams that I've been on, you can have an appointment setter who speaks to the exact same number of leads as another appointment setter, but they close way more deals than the other appointment setter, right? And so from a business perspective, everybody wants an appointment setter who can convert as many leads into cash. And the way you're going to do that is by booking as many calls as possible, and for them calls to show up to the closing call, and then for the closer, for them to be qualified so that they can actually close and buy the product. That's how you get paid, right? And that all comes from having good conversations, understanding what a good discovery looks like, how you build rapport with a prospect, all of these kind of things, right? So you're going to be speaking a lot. It's all about communication, about speaking to people over the phone. And that's why if you're somebody who just wants to be completely left alone and you just want to lock into a room and never have to speak to absolutely anybody and just run some other kind of online business and make money that way, appointment setting is probably not going to make the most sense, because you're going to have to be speaking to people, right? That's number one thing. Number two is, if you think that you can be successful in the game of appointment setting and high ticket sales, and your expectation is that you can do that by just not taking that many calls and working like 4 or 5 hours a day, you're probably not going to make much money, right? On some offers, can you do that? Possibly, potentially, but for the majority of offers, you going in with that mindset is not going to serve you well. You have to be willing to put in the work, especially at the beginning, to cement yourself and make a name for yourself, right? And why that's important is because when you perform really well and you become reliable, then you can start taking on more responsibility with that business and start making more money, right? And so it's not just about the short term. You know, appointment setting doesn't have to be the thing that you do forever, but if you want a transition into the world of making money online, appointment setting is probably the fastest way, the way that requires the least, I would say, experience and expertise. And there's not going to be too much delay in the time that you start the thing to actually start making money, right? If you start a business today, if let's say you start an e-commerce store, you have to go out there, depending on what kind of e-com you're doing, but let's say you're trying to launch your own product, you have to go out there, source it, do the researching, find the right supplier, buy it. Like, there is so much that goes into that before you can even start making money, you've already had to pay money, you've already had to waste a lot of time, and you haven't really seen any fruits of that labor. Whereas with appointment taking, with high ticket sales, you're not selling anything to anybody, you don't have a product, you're literally selling your time, your skills to another business. It's very similar, I would say it's very similar to actually working for like a company, being employed. The only difference is legally, oftentimes you're just a contractor. So like I would just operate under my own limited company, right, in the UK. A lot of people just don't even create a limited company and they just do it, you know, just by taking money straight into their personal bank account, which I'm no tax, you know, person or expert. That's not what this video is about. But the point is this, is that you're actually going to be similar to how you're going to work for an employer. You're going to be working for a business owner, but there's differences. And the differences are this. Number one, you're not employed. So you are technically just a contractor and you are not really like owned by the company in the same way, which is why you get a lot of churn and hiring and firing happens very, very fast. Okay. Number two is that, having said that, good contractors are high in demand and they will be given positions where you can make a lot more money a lot faster than you would probably find in the 9-to-5 world, right? Like you have to work 15 years of experience and so on and so forth, and then you get this position. Because the high ticket sales space is it's run by a lot of newer business owners, and oftentimes they're younger, oftentimes they're more from the influencing kind of influencer space. They themselves don't require people to have like 15 years, 10 years of experience. Like if you find somebody who's been in the high ticket space for more than a couple of years, that's someone who's been in the game for a pretty long time, right? You find someone who's been in the space for like 5 years, that's crazy. It's like a unicorn. That's why there's more opportunity for newbies in the space. And the way that you separate yourself from the whole crowd is by coming in and proving your worth. And the way you're going to do that is by performing well as an appointment setter. And there's a few different ways that you can do that. Number one, I just want to cover in this video is volume is going to be your best friend. So working more hours, doing more dials, booking more calls, like that is what's going to help you be a very valuable appointment setter to a business. But to be able to put that level of work in, you need the right mindset. And I used to watch these videos and I used to listen to people saying it's all about your mindset. It's all about a mental game, and I used to be like, what is this rubbish? But actually, I've realized more and more that where your headspace is at, where your mindset is at, is absolutely everything. Like, there is absolutely no way that you can succeed and be successful in anything without a strong mindset, unless you've just been given an absolute blessing from Allah Azza wa Jal. But generally speaking, you'll find that people who hold high levels or positions of leadership, responsibility, success, they always have a mindset that separates them apart from the rest of the people, right? And this is what a lot of sales training is about: understanding your identity. Who do you want to become? What kind of actions does that person need to take? Because sales is a performance-based sport. If you look at football teams or any other sport, they often have performance coaches. They have an environment whereby they reward, performing well, doing well, showing up consistently, and they will demonize or they will look down upon things which are going to bring down people's performance. And in the sales space, it's exactly the same, right? You're paid based on how well you perform. There's oftentimes no salary, there's no base. You do get some roles where there's a base and commissions. With appointment setting, I'm seeing that a bit more and more in the space now, where more people are getting bases as well as commissions. And I think that's actually like a good thing. I can speak about that on a different video. However, for a lot of offers still, it's literally just usually like 5%. 5% commissions, which means if you close no deals in that month, you get absolutely no money. So you have to be willing to understand that your income is going to be variable. This is another huge thing which most people don't think about, and most people won't talk about, who make these videos on appointment setting and things like that. You have to be ready and understanding of the fact that if one month you make a lot of money, if you blow all of that money, you might just not even be able to pay your bills the next month. So it's about having discipline and understanding that, okay, this month was a good month, next month might be a bad month, and oftentimes that does happen. It's going to be a bad month, but if I perform well, then I can overall make good money. Like, if I control the controllables, then I'm actually be able to make a good amount of money. It's just like owning a business. Your income is not going to be set every single month. You're going to vary, right? But people still do it because they understand that with a business, they can actually make a lot more money than working a typical job, right? So if you are a Muslim who wants to be able to make money online, and like that's your first goal, because I just want to give you some insight. My first goal was not how do I make 10K a month online. My first goal was literally how do I print money from my laptop. Like right now I have to go into an office, I have to do something I hate. How do I just take this, work from home, so that I can take this laptop anywhere and actually make money? How can I do that? That was my first goal. That's all I wanted. I wanted to be able to make more money in the future, sure, but my expectations were not I'm going to make 10, 15K in the first month. It was how do I take me making money in person to me making money online? That's the first step. And alhamdulillah, within my first month, I was able to do that, right? So my expectations were there. I saw the potential and then I worked hard. Alhamdulillah, I was able to make more and more money and climb up a little bit, right? Now, appointment setting is not for everybody. If you just don't have that level of work ethic where you understand that you're going to have to put in a lot of volume, a lot of hours, it's probably not going to make much sense for you, right? If you don't want to be speaking to people all day, it's probably not going to make much sense for you. If you want something which you own, like your own business, appointment setting doesn't make sense because it's not your own business. It's a way of making money online, but you're actually serving other businesses. So you're still technically working for somebody else, but what that looks like in practice is usually often a lot more different than typical 9-to-5s, right? So I make these videos because before I got into the space, I don't think there were many people talking very specifically about what the world looks like of high ticket sales, appointment setting, closing, stuff like that, especially from a Muslim's perspective. And I always wanted to know, like, I saw these ads and these videos here and there about like you can make 10K a month and so on and so forth. But what does a day-to-day look like? What do I need to know? And that's why I make these videos, to help you understand what you might be getting into, because I don't want to put a nice little ribbon around appointment setting. I think it's great. I would 100% advise it because that's the thing that I did, but it's not perfect. And there are drawbacks to it. It's not for everybody. But if you are someone who's ambitious and you just want to be able to make money online initially, and you want to learn the skills, inshallah ta'ala, which will allow you to, one day run your own business, you want closer proximity to people who are a lot more successful than you, and you want the potential to be able to make those 10, 15, 20, 30K a month, right? Like, if you want that potential, appointment setting is a great place to start. And it's one of the easiest ways that you can go from making money in person to making money online. Hopefully that was useful. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.